The Pima County Sheriff's Department says DNA on gloves found near Nancy Guthrie's home did not match any existing profiles in the federal database. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for 12 News at 4. I'm Tram Mai.
I'm Troy Hayden. It's a big blow to the investigation now in its third week and still no sign of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. 12 News journalist Gabriella Becerra just spoke to the sheriff, Chris Nanos, down there. And Gabby, several leads now that just haven't panned out.
That's right, Tram Troy. I asked Sheriff Chris Nanos about all of the latest developments in this case, developments that seem to be ebbing and flowing just by the day. But one of the biggest developments they're focusing on right now is that DNA evidence. And Sheriff Nanos tells me they found a lot of it inside of Nancy Guthrie's home. Now, all of that DNA was sent to a private lab in Florida where it's currently being analyzed. And so far, he tells me it hasn't produced any leads. The DNA found on a black glove approximately 2 miles from Nancy's home did not match the DNA found inside of Nancy's house or any stored samples in CODIS. But the sheriff tells me he's not ready to rule out the black glove as possible evidence. It appears consistent with the glove worn by the possible suspect on Nancy's doorbell camera video from the night she disappeared, and it also produced an unknown male DNA profile. Nanos tells me they're going to try genetic genealogy next to find possible matches with family members, but first he says they're going to be prioritizing DNA found at the scene over evidence that was found miles away. He wouldn't specify what they collected exactly from Nancy's house.
They get a sample, it's submitted to CODIS this morning, and there's no hits. That's not the end of it. We can submit it for genealogy or other things to be done, and those things are being looked at. But you have so much prioritization in all the evidence we gather. Sticking with DNA, the crime scene, for example, we have a lot of DNA still looking at. Some of that DNA is not as clear as we'd like it to be, right? That it's not just, oh, there's DNA, we swab it, we got it. Could be a mixture. Could be a male and a female, could be a couple of males, could be 3. So now we have to go back to our labs and say, can you separate it? It isn't just as simple as people think. We have DNA at the house. We're working with our labs to see what we can get for it. So far, no leads have been developed.
And at this point, I asked Sheriff Chris Nanos if he thinks that there could be more than one suspect involved in Nancy's kidnapping, and he says he's just not sure. I'll share more from my conversation with Sheriff Nanos coming up on 12 News at 5. Live in Tucson, Gabriella Becerra, 12 News.
And it's got to be so frustrating, especially for the Guthrie family, to have, you actually have video of the person who did this, and still every single lead that you think you've got something ends up as a dead end.
Sheriff Nanos says they are holding on to hope, just as the Guthrie family has also said they're confident that eventually something will lead them to the person who did this.
All right. Thank you very much, Gabby, down there in Tucson. It continues for Nancy Guthrie. Download the 12 Plus streaming app to see our latest coverage. This is on demand, and we, of course, will also break any breaking updates in this case on 12 Plus.